Hey guys, this is Ranger again, and this video is brought to you by viewer request. I had a viewer recently ask my opinion about between two rifles, the Ruger SR556 and the PSA AR-15. He ended up going with the PSA AR based on my opinion and several other guys' opinions. It's definitely a great gun for the money, high quality for great value. And he subsequently asked me about doing a cleaning and maintenance video, so here we are. I'll go over the tools you will need and some of the tools I recommend on using to help clean your AR, and as well as some lubricants that have worked well for me. The AR I have right here is my M16A4 clone. It's got a 20-inch barrel on it. It is a PSA lower and upper. I'll move on to the tools now. You'll see them there. One of the things you'll need to get, or I suggest to get, is an AR-15 cleaning kit. Now they'll come in this color green. I've seen some in a desert tan or coyote tan color, and I've even seen some in multicam and ACU patterns. They are fairly cheap. I think I may have paid $10 for this one. It came with a bunch of these little guys, with these little pipe cleaners on the inside, and it came with a couple patches. But the thing you'll need most are these sectioned off rails, or not rails, sorry, rods. That is your cleaning rod. And you also have your little patch rod, and you have the chamber brush, bore brush, and I added into it a bore mop, which I prefer over patches. You can also replace those last three items with a bore snake if you wanted to. It should also come with the brush you see there. Mine came with two brushes, so I got lucky there. And some of the things I added to it are these dental picks and the mirror and the Clays-Ion bolt scraper. The bolt scraper it does an okay job, but I think there's better ones out there. I got that one. I think I got it for free. It does an okay job. Some of the lubricants you'll need. I use CLP, which is the little bottle on the right or left here, for the buffer and the buffer spring. And the reason I use it on the buffer and buffer spring is because you don't have any heat back there as far as heat that's being fired from the round, so there's less of a chance of it burning off. And for the bolt carrier system and the upper receiver, I use LSA. A buddy of mine turned me on to that lubricant about a month or so ago, and I love it. Just a little 80 bit of it goes a very long way with your AR. I highly recommend it. I use, as you can see, some handkerchiefs back there to clean with, and the reason I use those over, say, like some pads or whatever, or patches, is because those patches tend to leave little bits behind, and those kind of annoy me. So I use those instead. Plus, I can wash those, which is great. Okay, now on to the rifle. With your rifle, you will have two takedown. Before you get to that area, you want to make sure it's clean. It's clear. You want to, if you have a mag in there, take it out. Take your chamber. Use a light that I have here. As you can see, there's nothing in there. So they go forwards. You have these two takedown pins right here, and you want to pop out the back one first, and then after you do that, it'll pivot on the forward pin, and it's supposed to do that. Some people like to clean their ARs like this. I don't, because it's just a bit of a hassle to me. So what I do, I just stand it up, push the forward pin out as best as I can, and then take the two halves apart. Take the lower and put it up here for now, and we'll deal with the upper right now. Okay. Now you want to take out the charging handle and the bolt. So pull that out about a quarter of a way. There's your bolt, and there's your charging handle. The first thing I clean is the bolt carrier group. And the reason for that is because there are small parts on this and I don't want to lose it. Plus it's the heart of the rifle. So you've got a firing pin retaining pin right here that holds in your firing pin. You want to take that out. It should come out fairly easily. If not, take a pick or some wire pliers and just hook them into the little opening there and pull it right out. Now your firing pin should drop free. This one's got a little bit of oil on it. Not supposed to have oil on it, but it's not going to kill a rifle if you do. Next thing you want to do is push your bolt back, rotate your cam pin 90 degrees, tilt it upside down, and it should fall right out. Then you just take your bolt out. And that is your bolt carrier group build stripped. Okay. Now when I clean or lubricate the bolt itself, sometimes after I've fired several hundred rounds or so through it, I will push this little pin out with either a firing pin or a punch to clean the inside of it. It doesn't need it right now because I haven't shot any rounds through it in a little bit, so I'll just leave it like it is, clean it up a little bit. What you want to do if it's dirty, take your brush and just go over it, making sure to get between the lugs there, clean out as best you can, and then going through the inside as well. Make sure you get underneath the extractor. And there you go. And something else that you want to make sure of is that these gas rings here, where they are split like that, you don't want to have them overlapping each other. If you do, you'll have a gas leak and it could cause failure to extract, or it could cause a sluggish bolt because you don't have enough gas pressure. Moving from the bolt, you go on the carrier. Just wipe it down a little bit. It's got some oil on it. Now, when I clean the carrier, I stick a pipe cleaner down through the key right here, the gas key, just to get some of the carbon fouling out of there. And there's a little bit in there, look at that. And really that's all you need to do for the gas key. You want to, after you've fired several rounds, or maybe 100 or so rounds through it, you want to clean the inside of this carrier pretty well, especially if it's not chrome lined. If it's not chrome lined, you're going to have some problems with carbon buildup. Now, and with any bolt carrier, you see a lot of your carbon buildup in here anyways, but you'll have less if it's chrome lined, or like this one is nickel boron coated. Then you'll have the majority of your hot gases coming out through here, and that's what these holes are here for. They're for help the gas escape a little bit. when reassembling your bolt carrier group, you want to make sure that your extractor is facing that direction, especially if you're holding the bolt with your right hand with the round face towards you. You want the extractor to face away from you. Push it in, align your cam pin hole with the track here. Take your cam pin, hold it at a parallel level with the with that line, I guess. Then rotate 90 degrees, and then take your firing pin and place it right in through there. At that point, you can pull your bolt out just like that, and then take your firing pin retaining pin and put it back in your bolt carrier group, and your bolt carrier group is back together. Now, some commonly missed places when cleaning the AR are in this little track here, because a lot of your gases will come through here and get a lot of carbon buildup in that little tract, and also on the front end of the charging handle here. Some other commonly missed places are, see if I can point it out to you. This little place right here, that is where the cam pin rotates into when the bolt locks into position in the chamber. Another common missed place is underneath the gas tube right here. People just don't think to clean their rifle right there. And along this track right here. You get a lot of carbon buildup in these areas. And that's because all of your gases that you just fired out of that round are coming through there. Now on to cleaning. If you have an AR-15 cleaning kit, you just want to assemble your cleaning rods. Fairly straightforward piece of equipment. And there we go. And take your brush and screw it on there. And then you want to insert it through the chamber and push all the way through to the end of the barrel. Now, I generally do that about 10 times, just to make sure I've got all the carbon out of there, and I'm not. And the reason I don't pull it back through is because I don't want to pull that crap back through the rifle. So what I generally do is unscrew the brush and pull it out, and then pull the rest out to the back. Like I said, I generally do that about 10 times, and then I'll repeat the process with the bore mop. Now, this bore mop is a little bit different. It doesn't fit into, or doesn't screw into the rods here, so I ended up having to pre-position the rods in place and then set the bore mop in place and just push through it. I'm going to try to do that so you can see it. Just put that thing in there and then just like you normally would, just push it on through, and that should just fall out. There we go. And like I said, I normally do that about 10 times as well, just to make sure that everything is out of there. Once that is done, your barrel should be clean. Then you move on to the upper receiver itself. And like I said, with the commonly missed places, it's right being that little area right there, and underneath the gas tube. What I generally do with the gas tube area, I just take one of these pipe cleaners, make a little oval like that, and then I just hook it around the edge of it, or the tip of it, and just, as best I can, just swab that area. And as you can see, there's carbon back in there. Not as much as after I'm done shooting, but there's still some there. And then again, I take it and get into that little nook area right there. And that should be fairly clean. And that covers basically just cleaning your upper receiver. Now, reassembling it, fairly simple, straightforward. You just want to find the reliefs through here. Here we are. There should be some right about in here, about an inch in, that correspond with these little lugs on your charging handle. Place it in there, push down, and it should slide. Oh, something I forgot. Probably the most important part. Lubrication. When lubricating your bolt, you have to take this apart. When lubricating the bolt, I generally try to lubricate along this ridge right here. Just put a little ADB dab. That much is plenty. I just do that and then take the excess and rub it along the lugs and along the top. And it just gets a good little coating on there, just enough for it to coat it. Then I put that back into the carrier. Make sure it's aligned properly. Then I'll lube the cam pin. Just twirl it around. Make sure you get it nice and lubed up. You don't want to over lube either. Too much lube is a bad thing as well. Okay. Sorry. Put that in your cam pin. Or sorry, firing pin, retaining pin. Then with the bolt carrier group, you want to lube, put a little bit of lube on this rail right here, right up in here, and the same on the opposite side. So we'll just put a little bit right there, 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 and there. And just run my finger right down through it. And there you go. Now your bolt carrier group is lubed up. Now for the charging handle, get some of that excess off of there. Charging handle, I generally put just a little bit on each lug. That's almost too much, to be honest. There we go. And a little dab on the top. The reason I do that is because there's a little piece that juts up that rubs against your upper. You don't want to scratch away too much metal. And wherever you see those wear marks like that and right here, you want to make sure you put some lube on those. And then now you can reassemble your upper. Find this. Okay, there we go. The upper is clean. Now to move on to the lower. When lubricating the lower, I find it easiest to use the brush or some other object to push down this pin that's holding in the buffer. That way you don't hurt your fingers. Here we go. And just pull it on out, the buffer and buffer spring. Now this will look a little bit different than your carbine buffer and buffer spring, because this is the rifle length buffer and buffer spring. Now what I generally do with the buffer and spring, I just wipe them down enough to where it's reasonably dry. And then I'll take the CLP and just put the smallest of dabs on here. That does it. And then just run my fingers right like that, and that's good to go. Now for the buffer spring, just take the spring, just barely squeeze on the bottle, and put an itty bitty little bead of lube on the springs, on the coils, and that's lubed. Then you can reassemble the buffer and buffer spring, place it back into your buffer tube, and you're good to go. As far as the fire control group goes, I don't put any lube on it. Not normally. If I do, I put CLP. You don't want to put anything on there that, like grease or anything, that will seize it up. However, if you do put any kind of lubricant on there, it will attract more carbon and more dust, so be wary of that. Something else I do is, like, I do try to clean the Magwell, because you do get some carbon down in there as well because of its proximity to the gas system. Something else you want to do with the pins, you want to lubricate those as well. You can use rim oil or CLP or something like that. Just put a little film on the outer side and then some on the channel in here for the detent to work into. Do it on both of them, and you're good to go. Well, that concludes my cleaning and maintenance of the AR-15. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Please comment and subscribe, guys.